So folks, in this video, we're going to be looking at what technological innovation we can expect to see in 2022 in the marketplace. This is a list that has been compiled by The Economist, and lots of researchers agree. So it's something to be mindful of, both for business and economics. So the first one is solar geoengineering. Essentially, what this looks to do is reflect solar radiation back into space, but it does kind of raise some eyebrows, because in order to do this, you have to release particles into the atmosphere, and people aren't sure how they feel about that. It's never been tried and tested, so people are quite nervous about it. The second one is hydrogen-powered planes. Now, the idea is that batteries aren't powerful enough in order to support planes, so instead they're going to use hydrogen. Okay, and actually, the first kind of test flights for this we are expecting to see in 2022. There's one in Netherlands that we're expecting by the university there, another one in California, and they have varying levels of the kind of number of passengers that those flights would allow on there, so various sizes, but it's something to keep your eyes open for. The next one is direct air capture, and it's quite a simple premise, really. We've got a problem that carbon dioxide causes global warming, so why don't we create machines that suck it out, basically? And we've already got the first DAC plant, which has been built in Iceland, which was built in 2021 and has been quite successful. And so they're looking at building others in and around America. So that's another thing to keep an eye on, especially as we race to try and slow down the impact of global warming. Next up, we've got vertical farming. Now, this has already had a massive impact on the agricultural industry, so economists, listen up as well. There's loads of advantages. It can meet growing food demand. It's less resource heavy in terms of land. So it might even reduce the barriers to entry for a lot of farmers. Hopefully we'll see more people going into agriculture because we've got a real shortage of that. However, it also has massive challenges in terms of that it needs massive investment. And so you can see the kind of pros and cons of it here. So the next one is container ships with sails. And this isn't a new idea, really. Traditional ships had sails. And the idea behind this is that ships produce 3% of greenhouse gas emissions. So let's return back to that with our advanced knowledge of technology, and let's see if we can reduce that. Now, Michelin, who are the tyre company who've created the first kind of inflatable sails on some of the ships, have said that they reduce greenhouse emissions by 20%. And already in the market, we've seen other companies trying to beat that. There's another one stating that their cargo ships reduce greenhouse emissions by 90%. And so we can see competition increasing, and that leading to more innovation in this sector. And that will be quite interesting to watch, especially as companies have promises that they're making about in terms of being carbon neutral, etc. So will more companies be wanting to take this on, especially when it comes to transporting their resources and goods? However, it's important to note that it does take a little bit longer for goods to be shipped. We're probably talking about a couple of days. The next one then is VR workouts. So as people have been working from home, a lot of people have taken on a health and fitness routine. This is quite a good one, and one that we should keep our eyes open for. I think especially because people have switched during COVID, people have switched to buying more goods than services. So this is another good that can be sold. And there's a whole industry that should develop around it then. So for instance, those providers of VR workouts, can you upload new programs onto it? Then also you're going to need services such as repair services, etc. So could this be a new kind of industry that really takes off in Britain? And then let's look at some medical advances. So vaccines for HIV. Now, the whole process of producing the COVID vaccine within a year, because of advances in mRNA, which allows you to culture cells a lot quicker, etc., has raised a question around how we build vaccines, okay, and how we develop them, bearing in mind that, to create something brand new in the pharmaceutical industry would take up to 10 years. And so now there's been a big push of actually, what is the process that we go through? Is it right? And could we have made developments a lot faster if we didn't have those processes, or we kind of had another look at them? I think the medical field is going to see massive changes in the next few years as a whole. We've started to see the beginnings of how 3D printing is changing the way that hospitals can operate and what they can and can't do. We have a massive issue in terms of donor lists and not enough people signing up to those, or, the body rejecting donors. And therefore, does 3D printing allow us to kind of get around that? It's not been heavily tested. We have seen a couple of cases where it has worked, and we need to then make sure, if it does work, that all hospitals have access to the technology, and that actually doctors are trained in terms of how they use it as well. So that's something to keep your eyes open for. So in a nutshell, guys, we're expecting to see massive changes and innovation in fields such as medicine, agriculture, logistics, gaming and household tech, and also the fight against global warming. And so these are all areas that you should keep your eyes open for.